Get out!
Get out! Marcus Chen yanked the Vera Wang wedding dress, his mother's final treasure, from the 6-year-old's shoulders. Sophia crashed onto cold marble. Blood beaded her knee. Maria lunged forward, but Marcus blocked her. Mr. Chen, she didn't... Building security? His phone on speaker. Penthouse A theft in progress. Call police. The dress, $2 million, 28 days since his mother wore it to her deathbed, crumpled in his fist. Sophia sobbed, reaching for her backpack. Her medical alert bracelet glinted on her wrist. I wanted to look pretty for Mama's hospital. Silence. Marcus's voice cut like glass. 3 months I trusted you, Maria. 3 months. Security would arrive in 12 minutes. This became one of those real-life stories that shatter us. These touching stories, these black stories of power. These life stories that ask, when does protecting what we love become destroying who we are? The penthouse door slammed open. Richardson arrived first. Building manager, 6'3". Wharton MBA visible on his office wall every time he fired someone. Mr. Chen, please step back for your safety. His hand rested on his taser, casual but visible. 3 security guards flanked him. Marcus didn't move. The dress hung from his grip like evidence. His hands shook. Grief, rage, or the Xanax Ambien cocktail his doctor prescribed after his mother's funeral. 28 days of pharmaceutical fog. Richardson activated his body camera with deliberate precision for legal documentation. Then louder, Maria Santos, you're being detained for suspected grand theft. She's 6 years old, Maria said. She didn't understand. That's what concerns me. Richardson pulled out his tablet, fingers flying. The building's resident safe app pinged 47 phones simultaneously. Security alert. Theft in progress. Penthouse A. Mrs. Wellington Price appeared first. Pomeranian tucked under one arm. Phone already recording. Finally handling the situation, Marcus. Richardson crouched beside Sophia, his voice syrup-sweet. Hey there. Did your mommy tell you to wear the pretty dress? Sophia wheezed. Her inhaler sat visible in her open backpack, just out of reach. She needs medication, Maria stepped forward. Richardson's arm blocked her. Stay back! Guards check her bags. They dumped Maria's purse onto marble. Bus pass, $12 cash, hospital ID badge. Richardson photographed each item, uploading to his security cloud. St. Mary's Medical Center, interesting. He zoomed on the badge. Says RN. Registered nurse? In Guatemala, maybe. My credentials are under review. By who? The fictional nursing board of Guatemala? He wasn't shouting. Worse, he was performing. Every word pitched perfectly for recording. Mr. Chen, did you know you employed someone with fraudulent medical claims? More residents gathered. Phones lifted. Someone started Instagram Live. The viewer count climbed 200, 300, 500. Marcus's phone buzzed relentlessly. Lawyers, board members, his foundation, CFO. One text cut through. Carmen Memorial Fund quarterly disbursement. Approve. Carmen, dead 7 years. His baby sister, who'd spent her last months obsessed with finding someone. The bloodline continues, she'd whispered through chemo. Promise you'll protect her. Mama, Sophia gasped. Can't breathe. Richardson stood between them. Mr. Chen, we've seen this performance before. Create emergency, avoid consequences. Marcus watched Sophia's lips turn blue-white. His sister had asthma, genetic. Their mother carried an inhaler for Carmen everywhere. Even after give her the inhaler. The words came out before Marcus could stop them. Sir, I don't recommend now. Richardson stepped aside slowly, letting Maria grab the inhaler. He made sure to angle his camera to capture it all. Note, suspects allowed medical intervention at owner's request. Sophia's breathing steadied. She looked up at Marcus with eyes that stopped his heart. Brown with gold flecks, identical to Carmen's, the same unusual pattern their grandmother had called tiger eyes. The dress is worth $2 million, Richardson announced to the growing crowd. Grand theft, first degree. Mrs. Santos, are you a legal resident? Yes, I have documentation. On you? He smiled when she shook her head. Of course not. Richardson's assistant arrived with a manila folder. Employment file, sir. Let's see. Pages flipped dramatically. Hired 3 months ago. Previous employer Eleanor Chen, deceased. How convenient. He looked at Marcus. She worked for your mother? Who hired her when? Marcus couldn't remember. The grief fog made everything before the funeral feel ancient. I don't... She had many employees, of course, Richardson typed rapidly. Maria Santos. No references verified. Previous employer conveniently deceased. Living at, he paused, 1847 Riverside. Section 8 housing, murmurs from the crowd. Someone whispered, welfare queen with a maid job? Structural inequality, another resident countered, but quietly. Richardson continued his performance. NYPD response time is 12 minutes. Mr. Chen, I need you to formally state whether you're pressing charges. Through his medication haze, Marcus noticed Sophia clutching something, a small photograph. A woman in a hospital bed, surrounded by medical equipment. The woman's face, put that away, Mija, Maria whispered urgently. Too late. Richardson grabbed it. Evidence. He held it up to his camera. Is this you, Mrs. Santos? In a hospital? Insurance fraud, perhaps? That's not... Maria stopped herself. Marcus stared at the photo. The machines, the IV drips, the distinctive blue curtains of Presbyterian Cancer Ward. Where Carmen died. The woman in the bed had her eyes closed, but the bone structure, the hand position... Sir? Richardson's voice sharpened. Are you all right? The girl. Marcus's mouth felt dry. When is her birthday? Irrelevant to theft charges. When is her birthday? Maria's face went pale. December 15th, 7 years and 2 months ago. Carmen's cancer diagnosis was 8 years ago. The timeline, she's lying, Richardson announced. Classic manipulation. Probably coached the child to memorize dates. He dialed his phone. NYPD, we have a $2 million theft. Suspects are foreign nationals. Child may be trafficked. The word trafficked electrified the crowd. The Instagram Live hit 2,000 viewers. No, Marcus said. But Richardson was already providing the address, badge number, promising full cooperation. ETA 5 minutes, Richardson announced. Guards, ensure they don't flee. Sophia started crying. Not loud sobs. Silent tears that reminded Marcus of another little girl crying silently. Carmen when their father left. Carmen when she got her diagnosis. Carmen when she made him promise. The safe, he said suddenly. My mother's safe. Richardson smiled triumphantly. Yes, check if anything else is missing. I'll document everything for insurance. But Marcus was already moving, ignoring the crowd, the cameras, Richardson's voice calling after him. His mother's last words finally clear through the grief. Carmen's daughter. The letter. The truth about why she hid her. Behind him, Richardson announced to his audience, Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to witness justice. Real justice, the safe clicked open. Marcus's hands trembled. Xanax, grief, or revelation he couldn't tell. Inside, documents, photos, and an envelope with Carmen's handwriting. Only if she finds you first. Behind him, Richardson commanded the room like a prosecutor. Mr. Chen is investigating additional theft. Guards maintain positions. The Instagram Live hit 8,000 viewers. Comments flooded faster than anyone could read. Someone had tagged CNN. Marcus opened the envelope. A photo fell out. Carmen in the cancer ward, visibly pregnant, holding hands with a woman. The woman's face was turned away, but her scrubs read, Mil Esperanza RN. NYPD in 90 seconds, Richardson announced. He grabbed Sophia's arm, pulling her from Maria. Separating suspects for individual questioning. Sophia's scream pierced everything. Not a child's normal cry, a primal, terrified sound that made everyone flinch. Her heart. Maria fought against the zip ties, drawing blood. She has SVT, supraventricular tachycardia. Stress triggers. Convenient. Richardson held Sophia like evidence, her feet dangling. Another medical lie. Marcus saw Sophia's lips turning blue, her eyes rolling back. This wasn't panic, this was real. Put her down. Marcus moved forward. Richardson stepped back, still holding Sophia. Sir, maintain distance from the suspects. Marcus's fist connected with Richardson's jaw. The building manager dropped, Sophia tumbling onto marble. The room exploded. Phones capturing every angle. Security guards reaching for tasers. Mrs. Wellington Price shrieking. Maria broke free from the loosened zip tie, diving for her daughter. She pressed 2 fingers to Sophia's neck, counting pulse. 160, 170. Call ambulance now. No ambulance until police. Richardson struggled up, blood streaming from his nose. Marcus was already dialing 911. 6-year-old girl. SVT episode, pulse over 170. Richardson grabbed the phone, smashing it against the wall. You assaulted me. Everyone saw. He turned to the cameras. Marcus Chen just attacked building staff. The penthouse door burst open. 4 NYPD officers entered, weapons drawn. Nobody move. Hands visible. Richardson pointed at Marcus, then Maria. Assault. Theft, child endangerment. The lead officer surveyed the scene. A building manager bleeding. A child convulsing. A woman performing medical intervention. And Marcus Chen, whose foundation donated millions to NYPD widows and orphans. Medical first, the officer commanded. Johnson, call EMS. The child is faking, Richardson started. Shut up. The officer knelt beside Sophia. Ma'am, are you medical? Registered nurse, Maria said, never stopping compressions on Sophia's chest. Vagal maneuvers not working. She needs adenosine. EMS 3 minutes out, Officer Johnson confirmed. Richardson tried again. She's lying about credentials, I said shut up. The lead officer's body cam was recording. Sir, you're bleeding significantly. Sit down. I'm filing charges. Marcus Chen assaulted. I saw him defending a child you were holding off the ground, Mrs. Wellington Price said suddenly. Everyone turned. She held her phone up. I have it on video. You grabbed a sick child. Richardson's face went white. You were supporting me. I was wrong. She played the video on her phone. Richardson lifting Sophia, her feet kicking, the audible crack when her head hit his shoulder. More residents started reviewing their recordings. Holy shit, someone said. He actually shook her. Look at her medical bracelet, another pointed out. It's real. From Presbyterian Pediatric Cardiology. The lead officer stood. Mr. Richardson, I need you to sit down and remain silent. You don't understand. They stole a dress? The officer looked at the crumpled Vera Wang. Mr. Chen, is this your dress? My mother's, Marcus managed. Do you want to press charges? Marcus looked at Sophia, fighting for breath. At Maria, whose hands never stopped working. At the photo from Carmen's envelope, now visible on the floor. That's my niece, he said quietly. That's my sister's daughter. The room went silent except for Sophia's labored breathing. Richardson laughed, high and manic. He's delusional. Medication abuse. Check his prescriptions. The officer picked up the photo, studied it. Is this Carmen Chen? My sister. 7 years deceased. And the woman with her, Maria. She was Carmen's nurse. Carmen hid the pregnancy because... Marcus stopped. The real reason would come later. Because she was protecting her daughter. From what? From people who would use her, hurt her. Control her for money. Richardson stood despite orders. This is insane. I have 43 complaints about these people filed. You filed complaints. The officer checked his tablet. When? Over 3 months. But you never called police until today. Richardson paused. I handle things internally. You handle things. The officer scrolled through his tablet. Mr. Richardson, are you aware 17 discrimination complaints have been filed against you with the city? Those were dismissed, sealed, not dismissed. By Judge Harrison, who lives in this building. EMS burst through the door. 2 paramedics rushed to Sophia, one already preparing an IV SVT, rate 180. Maria reported professionally. 6-year-old female, history of episodes triggered by acute stress. You're medical, the paramedic asked. RN Presbyterian, 7 years, get in line. Push adenosine, 6 milligrams, they worked together seamlessly. Within seconds, Sophia's heart rate dropped. Color returned to her face. Mama, she whispered. I'm here, baby. The lead officer turned to Richardson. Mr. Richardson, you're under arrest. For what? Assault on a minor. False imprisonment. Filing a false police report. He pulled out handcuffs. You have the right to remain silent. This is Marcus Chen's fault. He's protecting criminals. Check their papers. The officer looked at Maria. Ma'am, do you have identification? She nodded toward her purse. The officer retrieved her wallet, finding her green card, RN license, and something else. A folded document. What's this? Carmen's will, Maria said quietly. Naming me guardian of her daughter. Marcus's world tilted. His mother had been searching for them while they'd been here all along. 3 months. Maria had been trying to get close enough to tell him for 3 months. Why didn't you say immediately? He asked. Would you have believed me? On medication, grieving. Maria looked at him steadily. Carmen said wait until you were ready. Until you could see past the pain. The paramedic interrupted. She needs transport. Observation for 24 hours. I'm going with her, Maria said. So am I. Marcus stood. Richardson, now handcuffed, made one last attempt. The board will hear about this. You're destroying this building's reputation. The building's reputation. Marcus laughed bitterly. Officers, please check his office. I believe you'll find he's been embezzling. The FBI has been informed. Richardson's assistant had been edging toward the door. An officer stopped him. Sir, we'll need your devices. I want a lawyer, Richardson said. You'll need one, the officer replied. As they wheeled Sophia toward the door, she reached for Marcus. Uncle Marcus? The dress? Grandma's dress. Did I hurt it? Marcus picked up the crumpled Vera Wang. Worth $2 million. Worth nothing compared to this child. It's just fabric, sweetheart. Just fabric. The ambulance doors closed on Sophia's small form. Marcus stood in his penthouse, surrounded by 43 neighbors still recording. The Instagram Live showed 147,000 viewers. Penthouse justice was trending nationally. Richardson's assistant Paul hadn't stopped sweating. His phone vibrated constantly. Richardson calling from the police car. Paul declined each call, his hands shaking worse with each buzz. Mr. Chen, Officer Johnson approached. We need to process the scene, but there's something you should see first. He held up an evidence bag containing Paul's phone. On the screen, still visible, a spreadsheet titled Chen Family Asset Assessment. Marcus took the bag, reading through plastic. The spreadsheet detailed his entire net worth, his mother's estate, and a column marked Potential Minors Trust. Carmen's child. What is this? Marcus's voice could have cut glass. Paul cracked. I need protection. If I talk, I need protection. From who? Not who, what, the system Richardson built. Paul was crying now. It's not just him. It's bigger. Officer Johnson pulled out a recorder. Sir, you have the right to an attorney. I waive it. I'll tell everything. Paul looked at Marcus. Your mother knew. That's why she's dead. The room exploded. Phones swung toward Paul. Someone gasped. Mrs. Wellington Price dropped her Pomeranian. My mother had cancer. She had cancer. But check her medical records. Check what Richardson was paying her nurse to administer. Marcus felt the world tilt. I'm saying check the records. February 10th. The day she suddenly got worse. The day after she told Richardson she found her granddaughter. Officer Johnson immediately called for backup. We need forensics at Presbyterian. Possible homicide. Marcus's phone rang. The hospital. Mr. Chen, your niece is stable. But we found something in her blood work. She's been receiving microdoses of digitalis. Not enough to kill, just enough to cause cardiac episodes. What? Someone's been poisoning her slowly, carefully, for months. Marcus turned to Paul. That you knew? I suspected. Richardson had someone on the inside. At the school. The cafeteria worker. Enough! A voice boomed from the doorway. Everyone turned. Richardson stood there, still in handcuffs, but flanked by two men in expensive suits. Behind them, a woman Marcus recognized, Judge Patricia Harrison. Officers, I'm posting my client's bail, one suit announced. $1 million cash as agreed. He hasn't been arraigned, Officer Johnson started. Emergency hearing. 10 minutes ago. Judge Harrison smiled coldly. Given Mr. Chen's obvious mental instability and history of violence, we felt immediate action was necessary. You can't do this, Officer Johnson protested. I just did. She turned to the crowd. I'd advise everyone to think carefully about what they think they saw today. Richardson smirked. Paul, you're fired and sued. Defamation, breach of contract, theft of proprietary information. You poisoned a child. Paul screamed. Prove it. Richardson's lawyer pulled out his phone. I'm calling the Times. My client has been viciously attacked by a mentally unstable millionaire protecting illegal immigrants. Marcus started forward. 3 officers held him back. Careful, Mr. Chen, Judge Harrison warned. Another assault and you'll be arrested too. Richardson walked to the center of the room, addressing the cameras still rolling. What you witnessed today was a desperate man, Marcus Chen, destroying an innocent building manager to protect criminals. I've managed this building with integrity for 15 years. You have cameras in our bedrooms. James, the IT manager, shouted from the back. Richardson's smile never wavered. Security cameras in common areas, as disclosed in your lease agreements. Hidden cameras. In private units, prove it. James held up a hard drive. 40 terabytes of footage. Richardson's lawyer stepped forward. That's stolen property. Officers, arrest him. It's evidence, Officer Johnson countered. Of what? My client installing security systems. The lawyer turned to the crowd. Every resident signed agreements allowing building maintenance full access for safety equipment. Marcus's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Check your mother's jewelry box. Bottom compartment. E. Eleanor, his mother. But she was dead. Marcus pushed through the crowd to his mother's room. The jewelry box sat on her vanity, untouched since her death. He found the hidden compartment his mother had shown him once years ago. Inside a USB drive and a letter. Marcus, if you're reading this, Richardson has made his move. On this drive is every recording from his office for the past 3 years. He didn't know I had my own surveillance. He's been poisoning Sophia slowly, building a case that Maria is an unfit mother. He killed Carmen's friend at the hospital to destroy records. He may have accelerated my own death. Don't let rage consume you. Be smarter. The FBI already knows. Agent Martinez is my contact. Call him now, Mom. Marcus's hands shook. His mother had known everything. Had been fighting Richardson even while dying. He returned to find Richardson addressing the Instagram Live directly. Mr. Chen's family has a history of mental illness. His sister, tragic suicide. His mother, dementia in her final days. Now him attacking innocent employees. Carmen didn't commit suicide, Maria's voice rang out from the doorway. Everyone spun. Maria stood there despite doctor's orders to stay with Sophia. Behind her, 2 FBI agents. Mrs. Santos, you should be at the hospital, Judge Harrison started. With my daughter who Richardson has been poisoning? Yes, I should. Maria held up a medical file. Carmen's real autopsy report. Not the one Richardson's contact filed. She was murdered. Richardson laughed. Conspiracy theories from an illegal. I'm a permanent resident. Here's my green card. Here's my RN license. Here's Carmen's will naming me guardian. And here's the recording of Richardson ordering her death. She held up a phone. Carmen's voice, weak but clear, emerged. Ricardo, if something happens to me, Richardson did it. He found out about Sophia. He wants... The recording cut to Richardson's voice. The sister needs to go. Make it look like suicide. The mother's next if she keeps digging. The room went silent. Richardson lunged for the phone. The FBI agents moved faster, tackling him to marble. Judge Harrison tried to leave. Officer Johnson blocked her. Judge Harrison, you're under arrest for conspiracy, murder, and racketeering. You can't arrest a judge. We can and we are. The FBI agent Martinez showed his badge. We've been building this case for 3 years. Mrs. Chen was our informant. Marcus stared. My mother was working with the FBI? She came to us when she discovered the surveillance network. She's been feeding us information, even from her hospital bed. Then why didn't you stop him sooner? We needed evidence of the whole network. Richardson is one of 47 building managers running this scheme. Blackmail, murder, extortion across Manhattan. Paul had been silent, but now he broke. The files. Check Richardson's personal laptop. Password is Sophia's death 2024. He was planning to kill her and frame Maria. Richardson, face pressed to marble, snarled, You're all dead. Every one of you. I have judges, cops, senators. Had. Agent Martinez smiled grimly. Past tense. We arrested 16 judges this morning. 43 building managers. Over 100 accomplices. You were the last, Richardson. We just needed you to confess. He held up his phone. You've been broadcasting to a federal server this entire time. Every word admissible. Marcus looked around the room. His neighbors, complicit or victimized. Paul broken and sobbing. Richardson and Harrison in custody. And somewhere his 6-year-old niece fighting for her life after months of poison. The antidote, he said suddenly. If she's been poisoned, already administered. Agent Martinez nodded. She'll make full recovery. Your mother made sure we knew exactly what Richardson was using. Marcus's phone rang. The hospital. Mr. Chen! Sophia's asking for you. She says Grandma Eleanor told her in a dream that the bad man can't hurt her anymore. I'm coming. As he headed for the door, Mrs. Wellington Price stepped forward. Marcus, we're sorry. We didn't know. You chose not to know. He looked at the crowd of neighbors. You all have 24 hours to decide. Cooperate with the FBI or face investigation yourselves. Every single person who stood here and watched a child suffer will answer for it. He left them in silence, their phones still recording the wreckage of their complicity. In the elevator down, Marcus found one last text from the unknown number. The network is broken. Sophia is safe. You did it, son. Impossible. But the timestamp showed 3:47 p.m., the exact time his mother had died 28 days ago. The Chen Holdings boardroom had never seen chaos like this. 43rd floor, glass walls overlooking Manhattan, the city Richardson had tried to own. Marcus entered carrying Sophia, Maria beside them. 12 board members sat rigid around the mahogany table, while FBI agents stationed themselves at every exit. This is highly irregular, Chairman Blake started. So is murder. Marcus set Sophia down gently. She clutched her medical chart, evidence of 6 months of poisoning. The doors burst open. Richardson entered in shackles, flanked by federal marshals. Behind him, 3 lawyers and, surprisingly, Thomas Chen, Marcus's estranged uncle who'd been fighting for control of Chen Holdings for years. What is he doing here? Marcus demanded. I'm a board member. Thomas smiled coldly. And Richardson's new business partner. The room erupted. FBI agents stepped forward, but Thomas raised his hand. All perfectly legal. I bought Richardson's consulting firm yesterday. $1. You can't. I can. Richardson's knowledge of this building, of our residents, of our operations, invaluable. Thomas pulled out a folder, thick with documents. For instance, Marcus, did the board know about your prescription drug problem? The Xanax, Ambien, ketamine, prescribed for grief. Addiction is addiction. Thomas turned to the board. I motion for Marcus's immediate removal as CEO. Unfit leadership. Director Walsh stood. Mr. Chen, Richardson is a federal defendant, not convicted. Innocent until proven, Thomas smiled. Unless you'd like to explain why the FBI allowed an unconvicted man's assets to be sold. Marcus felt the trap closing. Richardson, even in chains, smirked. The girl, Richardson said suddenly. Let's discuss the girl. Don't you dare. Sophia Santos. Or is it Chen? Richardson's lawyer pulled out documents. Because these DNA tests, legally obtained from her public school records, show something interesting. Marcus's blood froze. They'd found something else. She's not Carmen's biological daughter. The boardroom went silent. Maria grabbed Marcus's arm. Richardson continued. Carmen underwent chemotherapy 8 years ago. It destroyed her eggs. She used a donor. The biological mother. Maria Santos. Every head turned to Maria. Carmen asked me, Maria whispered. She wanted a child who looked like her, from her culture. I donated eggs. Carmen carried her. Sophia is both of ours. Making her, Thomas stood triumphantly. Not a Chen heir. The 43 million trust. Invalid. Board member Jennifer Wu, usually silent, slammed her hand on the table. Enough. Everyone turned. I've sat on this board for 15 years watching you vultures. She pulled out her phone. Marcus, remember when Richardson installed those illegal cameras? He wasn't the only one recording. She hit play. Thomas's voice filled the room, dated 3 months ago. Once Eleanor dies, we move. Richardson handles the building. I'll handle the board. Marcus is weak, grieving. We'll split everything. Thomas went white. That's fabricated. I have 70 hours of recordings. Jennifer smiled. You discussing murdering Eleanor? Plotting against Marcus. Planning to steal Sophia's inheritance, whether she was biological or not, Director Walsh stepped forward. Mr. Thomas Chen, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder. You can't. I have immunity. I cooperated. You cooperated to save yourself while planning another crime. The handcuffs clicked. Your immunity's revoked. Richardson tried to stand, but the marshals held him. This isn't over, Marcus. The network is done. Marcus pulled out his phone, showing a bank app. Every victim you identified in your files. I just sent them each $1 million. Personal funds, that's 300 million, 312 million. Marcus turned to the board. I'm also establishing the Eleanor Chen Foundation for Immigrant Protection. The initial funding, 500 million. You can't liquidate that much without board approval, Blake protested. I'm not liquidating company funds. I'm selling my shares. Gasps around the table. To who? Blake demanded. Marcus looked at Maria and Sophia. To the Chen Family Trust, managed jointly by Maria Santos and myself, with Sophia as sole beneficiary upon turning 21. She's not even a Chen. She is now. Marcus pulled out adoption papers. Filed this morning. Sophia Chen, my legal daughter. Sophia looked up at him, eyes wide. Daddy? If you want. She threw her arms around his neck. Mama said I could call you that when the bad men were gone. Speaking of bad men, Director Walsh announced, Richardson, your leverage files. We found them. All 40 terabytes. Including this. The boardroom screen lit up. Security footage from 3 months ago. Richardson in Thomas's home, both men standing over Eleanor Chen's hospital bed. Just increase the morphine, Thomas said on video. She's dying anyway. The morphine alone won't do it. But combined with what I've been having the nurse add, how long? 2 days. Maybe 3, the recording ended. The boardroom sat in stunned silence. You killed my mother. Marcus's voice was barely human. Richardson shrugged. Prove she wouldn't have died anyway. Marcus started forward. Maria caught him, whispering, Sophia's watching. The little girl was indeed watching, but not with fear. With something like pity. Grandma Eleanor says you're already dead inside, she told Richardson. That's why you hurt people. Because you can't feel love anymore. Richardson actually flinched. Director Walsh signaled her team. Take them both. Separate vehicles, separate facilities. As they dragged Richardson and Thomas out, Richardson managed one last statement. Your mother begged, Marcus. At the end, she begged for more time to find the girl. Marcus's control snapped. He lunged, but not at Richardson, at the boardroom table. His fist connected with mahogany, splitting wood. She found her, he said quietly. My mother found Sophia, found Maria, set up everything so I'd find them too. Even dying, poisoned by you, she outplayed you. Jennifer Wu stood. I motioned to confirm Marcus Chen as permanent CEO and sole decision-maker for Chen Holdings. Seconded, said 3 board members simultaneously. All in favor? Every hand raised except Blake's. Blake? Jennifer asked. Blake sighed. I have a confession. Richardson had files on me too. An affair years ago. He's been blackmailing me. Not anymore. Marcus turned to Director Walsh. All personal blackmail materials should be destroyed. Only criminal evidence retained. Already done. The servers were wiped an hour ago. Blake raised his hand. Unanimous. Marcus looked around the room, his boardroom now definitively. Chen Holdings will divest from all buildings in Richardson's network. We're going to build new ones, with worker protections, immigrant support services, and no surveillance beyond basic security. That's a $10 billion decision, Blake started. Then we'd better get started. Marcus lifted Sophia again. This is her inheritance now. It should be something clean. As they left, Marcus's phone buzzed one last time. Unknown number. The basement storage unit 47B, one more gift. In the storage unit, they found Carmen's things, photos, journals, and a video message dated 7 years ago. Marcus, if you're watching this, you found my daughter. Our daughter, Maria's and mine. I'm dying, but I'm not afraid because I know Mom will guide you to them. Richardson thinks he owns this building, but Mom owns him. She has evidence of every crime. She'll wait until the perfect moment. She always does. I love you, brother. Raise my girl to be fierce. The video ended with Carmen holding baby Sophia, both laughing. That night, as Marcus signed papers dissolving Richardson's empire and redistributing wealth to victims, Sophia drew a picture. 3 figures holding hands, himself, Maria, and Sophia. Above them, 2 angels watched. Mama Carmen and Grandma Eleanor, Sophia explained. They're happy now. Marcus hung the picture in his office where it would remain for the next 40 years, through Sophia's medical school graduation, her wedding, her own children. A reminder that sometimes justice comes through a child's innocence and a grandmother's final chess move. Richardson would die in prison 17 years later, alone. Thomas would serve 25 to life, and the Chen Foundation would save thousands. 6 months later, Marcus stood in the Chen building's lobby as protesters gathered outside. Luxury means security, their signs read. Chen Communist read others. Inside, the first resident meeting since Richardson's conviction was erupting. My property value dropped 40%, shouted Mr. Harrison, a hedge fund manager. You've destroyed our investment. Marcus faced the crowd, half supporting his reforms, half demanding his resignation. Sophia sat with Maria in the front row, small hands steady despite the shouting. You have 2 choices, Marcus said calmly. Accept the new reality or sell. Sell by any unit at original purchase price. That's financial suicide, Harrison started. I've already bought 17 units. Marcus pulled up his phone, showing the transactions. Converted them to workforce housing. Teachers, nurses, firefighters now live here. Mrs. Wellington Price stood. Different now. 6 months of court-ordered community service had changed her. I was wrong before. But these reforms, they're working. Working. Harrison laughed. We have children playing in hallways. Cooking smells from ethnic food. This isn't the luxury we paid for. No, Marcus agreed. It's better. The doors burst open. City Inspector Bradley entered with 4 officials. Mr. Chen, we're here about violation reports. Illegal conversions, unauthorized medical clinic, unpermitted childcare facility. Richardson's reach. Even from prison, everything was filed properly. Maria started. We'll determine that. Bradley smiled coldly. Everyone out while we inspect. As residents filed out, Bradley whispered to Marcus, Richardson sends his regards. Enjoy federal prison. But FBI Director Walsh was already walking through the door. Inspector Bradley? You're under arrest. Bradley froze. On what grounds? Taking bribes from Richardson's remaining network. Walsh held up a phone. You texted your wife about the 50,000. She's cooperating. As they cuffed Bradley, Marcus realized the war wasn't over. Richardson had tentacles everywhere. The clinic serves 900 patients, Maria told the crowd. The childcare enables 40 single parents to work. Close them and families suffer. Not our problem, Harrison said. Sophia stood suddenly. It is your problem. Everyone turned to the 6-year-old. Mr. Harrison, your housekeeper's son, uses our clinic for insulin. Without it, he dies. Mrs. Chen in 4B, her daughter, is in our childcare while she works nights keeping your favorite restaurant open. Mr. Parks. Father gets citizenship help here. The same Mr. Park. Who performs your surgeries. She pulled out a hand-drawn chart showing connections between every resident and the services they wanted to cut. A child did this research? Harrison asked. I learned from Grandma Eleanor's notes. Sophia held up a journal. She tracked everything. Every connection. Every dependency. We all need each other. The crowd went silent. Marcus's phone buzzed. A text from Richardson's lawyer. Final offer. Drop all charges. Return building to original status. Or tomorrow's Times reveals your father's affairs. Your sister's suicide attempt at 15. Your mother's psychiatric holds. Marcus read it aloud to everyone. Let them publish, he said. My father's failures, Carmen's struggles, my mother's depression, they're human truths. Not weapons, he typed back. Do your worst. 3 seconds later, another message. Check your daughter's school. Marcus's blood froze. He called PS 47 immediately. Mr. Chen? There's a man here claiming to be Sophia's grandfather. Don't let him near her. Too late, a familiar voice came on. Thomas Chen. Hello, brother. Marcus ran, residents following. They reached the school in 8 minutes, record time. Thomas stood at the gate, legally out on bail, holding flowers. Just wanted to meet my grandniece, he smiled. You have a restraining order. From you, not from her. Sophia appeared at the fence. Uncle Thomas? Mama Carmen told me about you. Thomas knelt. She did? She said you were sad and angry because Grandpa loved her more. She forgives you. Thomas's composure cracked. She forgives me. But forgiveness doesn't mean trust. Sophia stepped back. You hurt people. Until you stop, you can't be near us. A 6-year-old setting boundaries with more grace than most adults. Thomas stood, flowers dropping. This isn't over. Yes, it is. Marcus pulled out his phone, showing a document. Chen Holdings just donated $1 billion to immigrant causes. In your name. Your entire trust fund, which I control as CEO. You can't, I just did. You're broke, Thomas. No money for lawyers, bribes, or revenge. Thomas lunged. Parents formed a wall, protecting the children. The scene was captured by 20 phones. Within minutes, viral. That evening, the building vote was unanimous. All reforms would continue. Harrison abstained but didn't oppose. Marcus found Sophia in the butterfly garden they'd built, talking to the plants. Were you really speaking to them? He asked. No, she admitted. But sometimes if I'm very quiet, I feel like Grandma and Mama are proud. They are. How do you know? Marcus pointed to the garden. Despite November cold, butterflies had arrived, impossible but real. Some things, he said, we just know. 1 year later, Marcus sat in a federal courthouse. Not as CEO, but as defendant. Mr. Chen, the prosecutor said, you illegally accessed Richardson's files. You distributed $300 million without tax documentation. You threatened 43 residents with eviction. Richardson watched from across the courtroom, thin now, dying of liver cancer but given medical furlough to testify. His revenge, using the system he'd corrupted against the man who'd exposed him. Sophia sat in the gallery, now 7, drawing pictures. Not butterflies this time, courthouses. Guilty, Marcus said suddenly. His lawyer jumped up. Your Honor, I'm guilty of everything except intent to harm. Marcus stood. I broke laws to save lives. I'd do it again. The judge, newly appointed after the corruption purge, nodded. Sentence: $1 fine, 1,000 hours community service at the Chen Foundation you created. Richardson erupted. That's not justice. No, the judge agreed. Justice would be bringing back your victims. This is mercy, something you never showed. As marshals dragged Richardson back to prison, he locked eyes with Sophia. She held up her drawing, not a courthouse, but Richardson as a child alone, crying. I drew you before you became mean, she called out. Grandma Eleanor says you were sweet once. Richardson stopped fighting. For the first time in decades, tears fell. 3 weeks later, he died. His last words, according to his cellmate, tell the little girl she was right. But the work continued. Marcus stood in the transformed Chen building, now visited by legislators from 40 countries. The butterfly garden bloomed impossibly in December snow. Scientists couldn't explain it. Sophia could. Love grows anywhere if you're stubborn enough. The wall displayed numbers. 3,147 buildings reformed globally. 400,000 workers protected. 12 billion recovered for victims, but also 17 reformers killed by remaining network members. 43 buildings reverting to old ways. The fight never really ended. Uncle Marcus, Sophia said, reviewing citizenship applications. This one's special. The application was from Valeria Santos, Richardson's daughter, whom he'd abandoned 30 years ago. She wants to help. Says her father's cruelty drove her to become an immigration lawyer. Marcus approved it immediately. Even Richardson's legacy could be redeemed. That evening, CNN interviewed them. Sophia, you've become a symbol of resilience. Any words for other children facing injustice? Sophia looked directly at the camera. Yes, write everything down. Record everything. Adults think kids don't understand. But we see everything. We remember everything. Use that power. And Mr. Chen, these real-life stories aren't unique. These touching stories happen daily. The black stories of systematic oppression, these life stories, they're everywhere. The only difference? We fought back together. The interview ended with Sophia's newest drawing, thousands of buildings, each with a small light connected by golden threads. What's that? The reporter asked. The network of good people. It's bigger than the bad one. We just have to find each other. As cameras stopped rolling, Marcus's phone buzzed. Another building manager arrested. Another family reunited. Another small victory. Sophia tugged his sleeve. Daddy! She used the word more often now. Are we winning? Marcus looked at her. Poisoned but not broken, orphaned but not alone, 7 years old but somehow ancient. We're surviving, sweetheart. And teaching others to survive. That's its own victory. Grandma Eleanor says survival is the first revolution. She's right, she usually is. Did Richardson's network touch your building, your workplace, your family? You're not alone. Share your story below. Anonymity guaranteed. Subscribe to follow the Chen Foundation's investigations. Comment no more Richardsons. If you're ready to check your building's management. Every search starts with suspicion. Every reform begins with rage. Every revolution needs you.